Wars are rarely the result of sudden passion. They are the products of long-term planning. Behind the official casus belli, the border disputes or national insults, lies the influence of secret societies. These groups, from the Carbonari to the Thule Society, operate in the shadows of diplomacy, steering the world toward conflict to reshape the map according to their own occult or political blueprints. The 18th century Bavarian Illuminati sought to dismantle the old order of thrones and altars. By infiltrating Masonic lodges across Europe, they spread revolutionary ideals. Their influence was felt in the French Revolution, a conflict that bathed Europe in blood and cleared the way for a new secular era of governance, proving that a small, dedicated cell could topple an empire from within. In 1914, a Serbian secret society known as Unification or Death, or the Black Hand, orchestrated the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. This single act of state-sponsored terror triggered a web of interlocking alliances that dragged the entire world into the trenches of the Great War. The Black Hand didn't just want a local conflict, they wanted a global fire to burn away the old dynasties. After Germany's defeat in WII, the Thule Society emerged as a dark Volkish cult in Munich. They provided the occult foundation and the initial funding for the Nazi Party. Their belief in Aryan racial purity and a predestined, holy war for Lebensraum became the driving force behind World War II. The greatest conflict in human history began in a private room of obsessed occultists and mystics. At Yale University, the Order of Skull and Bones has produced presidents, CIA directors, and secretaries of defense. Critics point to the Bonesman presence in the lead-up to the Vietnam and Iraq wars. They argue that this tight-knit brotherhood shares a worldview of American hegemony and managed conflict, ensuring that the military-industrial complex remains in a state of perpetual motion. Cecil Rhodes and Alfred Milner established the Round Table groups to maintain and expand British imperial influence. They operated through quiet diplomacy, influencing the press and parliament to support the Boer War and, later, the entry into WWI. Their goal was a federated British Empire that could manage global affairs through a series of necessary regional and world conflicts. In the 1970s and 80s, the Propaganda du P2 Masonic Lodge in Italy was exposed as a shadow government, involved in the strategy of tension. They allegedly orchestrated bombings and political assassinations to push Italy toward authoritarianism. They proved that secret societies can use internal, domestic wars of terror to manipulate the political landscape and control the state. Secret societies often overlap with international banking elites. Groups like the Rothschild-led networks have historically funded both sides of a conflict. By providing the credit for war, they ensure that regardless of who wins on the battlefield, the shadow government wins at the bank. War is the ultimate debt generator, and debt is the ultimate tool for global unelected control. In 19th century Italy and France, the Carbonari charcoal burners were a network of secret revolutionary cells. They launched dozens of localized wars and insurrections against the Bourbon and Austrian monarchies. Their clandestine nature made them impossible for the police to fully uproot, allowing them to keep Europe in a state of constant low-level warfare for nearly half a century. The medieval Nazarius Mali state, known as the Assassins, mastered the art of asymmetric warfare. By targeting key political leaders for assassination, they could trigger or end wars without ever fielding a massive army. Their influence showed that a secret society could hold the great powers of the Crusades and the Seljuk Empire in check through the strategic use of calculated, targeted terror. Conspiracy researchers point to a committee of 300, a shadowy group of international aristocrats and corporate titans. They are accused of using managed chaos and regional wars to depopulate the planet and consolidate resources. In this view, every modern conflict is a planned chess move designed to move the world closer to a centralized, one-world government managed by the elite. In the East, groups like the Black Dragon Society in Japan influenced the move toward militarism and the invasion of Manchuria. These societies blended nationalism with mysticism, pushing the Japanese Empire into a disastrous conflict with China and the West. They represented a secret engine of aggression that the public only saw once the first shots were fired and the war had begun. Every summer, the world's power elite meet at Bohemian Grove. While dismissed as a summer camp, critics note that major decisions, like the Manhattan Project, were discussed there. These private gatherings allow leaders to coordinate the business of war outside of public oversight, ensuring that the geopolitical chessboard is set long before the soldiers are moved into their positions. Freemasonry has been accused of fueling both the American and French revolutions. While the organization is officially fraternal, its networks of influential men have often shared radical political goals. During the 18th century, military lodges within the British and French armies allowed officers to share secrets and plan strategies that crossed the traditional lines of national loyalty. Operation Gladio was a secret NATO stay-behind network designed to fight a Soviet invasion. However, it allegedly evolved into a secret society that carried out false flag attacks in Europe to prevent the rise of the political left. This secret army influenced the internal security wars of several nations, operating entirely outside the knowledge of the elected parliaments. Secret societies often control the narrative through their members in high-level media positions. By manufacturing a reason for war, like the Gulf of Tonkin or WMDs, they manipulate the public into supporting a conflict. This psychological warfare is the most vital tool of any secret society, as it allows them to lead a nation into battle while the people believe they are choosing to fight. For a secret society, peace is often just a time to prepare for the next conflict. They use international treaties and organizations to set the stage for future wars that will further their goals. The League of Nations and the UN are seen by some as tools of these groups, designed to manage the world order through a series of enforcement wars that never truly end. Many secret societies believe that war has an occult or cleansing significance. They view major conflicts as blood sacrifices or alchemical changes for humanity. This dark spiritual dimension explains why some wars seem to defy rational political logic. They are being fought to satisfy the esoteric beliefs of the men who pull the strings from the shadows of their private lodges. Throughout history, defectors from these societies have tried to warn the public. Men like William Morgan or modern whistleblowers have risked their lives to expose the plans for global conflict. These warnings are usually met with character assassination or accidents. As the societies protect their most vital secret, that war is a managed business, not a tragic accident of human nature. In the end, the secret societies don't care who wins a war in the traditional sense. They care about the change that the war produces. If a conflict leads to more debt, more surveillance, and more centralized power, then the society has won. The soldiers are the pawns, the nations are the board, and the hidden hand is the only player that truly understands the stakes of the game.